The one that you mentioned, this as kicking it off, Mondo Cane, really was a surprise success. The title literally means Dog's World, and it was a documentary showing shocking cultural things in different places around the world. But it made a lot of money, and in fact, the title song by Riz Ortolani got an Academy Award nomination. So
Brilliant.
people saw dollar signs, and the people who made it, Galtiero Jacopetti and Franco Prospero, made a Mondo Cane 2, and then Women Around the World and Slavery Around the World. And that sort of kicked off a whole flood of these films that you could, if you look around the late 60s, quarters of the late 60s, there's ones on witchcraft, lots of ones that are things around the world that are basically just thin excuses to be pornography. Russ Meyer made Mondo Topless about clubs in San Francisco. And it sort of spread into the 70s, where the pair responsible for the original film eventually made Africa a Dio, eventually called Blood and Guts, Africa Blood and Guts, when it was released in North America, that purports to show real footage from various revolutions around Africa that they apparently stumbled upon, which was very controversial and got them in court in Italy because the accusation was that they'd staged real deaths to make this film, which was never proven. But then to make up, we're now repeatedly accused of exploiting African culture in these films. They then made a fake documentary called Goodbye, Uncle Tom, that was supposed to reveal all of the terrible things that happened during the American slave trade. But then that got charged with them exploiting. They shot it in Haiti when Papa Doc Duvalier was running Haiti, that they were exploiting the citizens of Haiti, making them do terrible things to stage this documentary. That's like the early 70s, and about that point, the phenomena seemed to kind of peter out. But as you say, home video kind of resurrected it in the early 80s, especially with things like Faces of Death and all these mostly home video releases that were purporting to show you things like there's people actually dying, which staged pretty much. Like there's a few footage, like found footage things, like when we talk about the killing of America, that you can see in that, and then a lot of really fake stuff. And that kind of leads us to this one, Killing of America, because this is from like 1981.
Join us on Film Swap Podcast.